Be crazy. Be adaptive. Adapt, improvise, overcome. I believe the great Bear Grylls once said when he was talking about how to make it in a CS major.
Bears, Grylls, Battlestar Galactica. Boom.
I understand the reference now.
now.
I understand the reference.
Okay, good,
this reference was made yesterday, and I didn't get it.
You got
Extreme
it.
disappointment.
You missed my Destiny reference earlier too. Do you know that Commander Zavala strike team?
No.
My Titan. You even said Titan earlier, and I was like, oh, I play Titan in Destiny. Oh, okay.
Well, you thought I got it. You thought I got it, so that might be good.
Well, I hit my quota. I told you I'd get it in this weekend.
Okay.
I'll have to get in another one. We got some utility coming out. And there's the scramble. Flash is coming out. Coco holding in through Carr. Not going to survive for very long. And it is just a blood splatter after blood splatter. The kill fest is coming through. And with a 2-on-2 situation, this push is going to come to a halt.
Yeah, Chippy hanging out by the box. It's Kaki and Brashy. Last two players over in tunnels. They're looking to make a retake. The bomb is going to go down, guaranteeing an extra payday for these players. Gank does manage to take down the first one, but Brashy's there for the pickup. Chippy hanging out on the right side. Brashy's checking those corners, looking to the right, and they get the tap.
Brashy, that's a player you definitely remember from yesterday, a player that had no problem face-checking smokes, making clutch plays. It's great to see at 5 HP, Brashy doing the same on this first round.
Yeah, that was a ballsy take coming out from Drypeek to just rush on out there, but even more guts were displayed by Brashy, winning that duel with such low HP to start off with.
I'm so happy to see these players back in the server. I mean, I'm looking back to yesterday. Kaki doing a lot of work on that op. Geditor, Gertz, really solid entry fraggers at times. Drypeek as well, we're seeing them back in here. It's great to see. And it looks like we have a long, amazingly aggressive push here by Brashy all the way down towards garage. And you can see even Kaki backing up to try and get this cross angle here for the entry from the tees.
Oh, and there's Brashy in the pit, finds one and swings out. Kaki there for the support, but Gank gonna pick up both of them. One more player, it's Geditor hanging out by the car with the MP9, smoking themselves off to preserve their safety. Buy some time, jumping on, facing away from the flash. It's gonna be a good move, but send out the Incin to keep off and dissuade any sort of push. Gank's taking their time though, they have to.
Molly comes out, Gank's still in the pit here. And this is really just whoever gets the first pick, and there comes through Gank opening things up, but they have to worry about this lurk coming through from Gertz.
I mean, if you're not looking down A long, you gotta have someone on your flank. It's gonna be Chippy taking down Gertz. And now the last one alive, it's Geditor with the MP9, is able to tap him down, might be able to find a second, and he does!
You can't see my face, but it's shocked. That was awesome. And Geditor, such a phenomenal play through that round. First starting off with that car position, they were holding that car position the whole time. They throw the smoke down. Instead of using that to get across the street, he uses it to reveal the position of the players holding in pit, so he knew there were players still there. Then to have the sack to sit there and then take the long-range fight with the submachine gun, I mean, that right there, that's for the real. You put that on the fridge right there. You print it out and you put it on the front.
Mom, get the camera, because you aren't going to want to miss this one. Now a big rush down Cat. Going to ignore that instant. The flash is up, and Geditor backing up with the FAMAS. Might walk up into the flames. They save themselves from damage, but Kaki is the first one to fall. Gank and crew, they've taken control of the site. YeniCherry backing off. They have only positions in CT. Going to be a hard retake.
L1 on Cat. Not going to be able to find too much. Is going to look potentially behind the lurk here, but turns their back away. And Geditor is going to clean that up. Brashy also getting on the board here. Chippy going to return fire. 3-on-2 situation here. Situated towards Carr, and now lower streets getting lowered and opened as Chippy finds two. 2-on-2, 2-on-1, and now they're going down. The numbers are getting whittled. It's a 1-on-1 situation.
Oh, so close. But actually, they walk away with it. There's no time to defuse, and finally, Drypeek, they win that round. It costed them everything, but they do get on the board.
And that was a scramble and a half right there. Honestly, could have gone either way, but in that situation, it's not a 5-on-5, it's a 6-on-5, right? Like, you have time on your side once you have the bomb down. Eventually, it became a 2-on-2, becomes a 3-on-2 in that situation, right? So you have to kind of keep that in mind as you're trying to jiggle these corners, right? You gotta confirm those kills quickly because the bomb's taken down.
smokes down. No forward pressure here for long in. L1 just running out like a madman with the MAC-10. Finds one, but will be taken down by Khaki, who's hanging out on top of site. We'll have the support of Brashy jumping onto those boxes. Khaki continues that reign of terror through the smoke. And a few shots from Brashy are going to get a little bit of damage in, but nothing too substantial. And despite the fact that their numbers have dwindled to 3, Drypeek manages to take control of the site. They're going for a boost, and Khaki gets another one. Chippy goes down and looking for another. Wow. It's Khaki again. Is Khaki going to come through with the ace? They do!
Khaki owning that map right there. Entire one-man army with a little help from his friends, but mostly done on their own. Just absolutely extinguishing the other team. Look at this, Khaki putting shots in through the smoke here. Amazing awareness to check that corner first before swinging out onto the site, and then on the crouch still confirms the kill. You love to see it.
Great performance and just awesome utilization and positioning of that player. Khaki has really done serious work here for YeniCherry. YeniCherry up 3-1. We're looking at another minuscule buy coming out of Drypeek.
And even though they ended up winning that, I was surprised how Getter flew away out of car position when they were willing to hold that with the MP9, right? Like they were just sitting there in that car position despite the push, and that time they ran away from the push and got shot in the back. Still saved there in the end, and YeniCherry does come out on top. Slight pause, and then we're going to jump right back into it. YeniCherry with a slight lead up 3-1. Drypeek not at a full buy here, and looking to try and do a little bit of economic damage here to YeniCherry, who would likely have to save if they lose this next round.
A little bit of a default play. No one looking to maintain some control on mid-site. However, lower tons is going to be the way to go. Oh, Khaki keeping that pressure here on A. To be able to make their way through, but flames out. Double doors have been denied. And CT will remain safe, but the move's going to be through Cat to smoke. Brashy on the other side. But if he walks through, he's going to be faced with a world of hurt. Once this dissipates, he's going to be under a firing squad. If he can transfer it into 2, he only picks up 1. Useless trash there for the trade, and now they're going to begin their assault onto A site. Might be a flash to try and blind them as they round the corner, but they will remain safe. There is one player looking to round this A long position. However, they don't have the angle at this point.
Yeah, that's going to be a full retake here. They're going to reestablish themselves on Cat, and then YeniCherry will have Khaki coming in through A long, putting pressure, but no, gets caught out immediately. I'm useless trash, finds him first, and now they're going to immediately push up to try and go for a potential pinch themselves. Up on Cat, there comes the flash catwalk push coming through, and Getter trying to put some entry frags in, but can't find Hater. Shots coming through all the way from Street, and Getter does finally find Khaki. One player alive remaining on the area. It's L1, and now here comes the flank from behind. It's not enough. I'm useless trash. Gets one, but can't get the rest done. And the defuse will be there just in time to make it 4-1.
It was just a clean, well, I'm not going to say clean. It was just a well-executed retake. Definitely around YeniCherry needed to hold on to. They are finally going to be able to get Khaki back onto that off. That's a player we know is prominent with that piece of hardware. Has gotten plenty of crucial frags throughout their time here at Fragadelphia, so I'm excited to see how they continue this punishment going into Dust.
Hardest task here is to try and get that off of Khaki, but with just Tech 9s here, mostly Deagles, I mean, it's going to be a huge ask to do so. You see they're completely spread out, looking just for a couple cheesy picks if potentially possible. Brashy hanging out, looking over Cat into the lower tunnel. Potentially for anyone to peek out towards mid, it might be Gank who does that first. And Brashy will get sights on him and puts those shots down and picks him up. L1 also going down as well. It's a 5-on-3 situation. Things are starting to get hairy as they push in towards B. The smoke is going to push them back out in the area of mid, and that's going to be right in towards double doors, which is mollied off. Catwalk is also mollied off, and the CTs are now spread out through spawn to figure out where the rest of the Ts are going, and they are going to head towards Catwalk.
Getter waiting on the car for these players to flood on out. Finds 2, looking to make it, and a third. However, Ken Even though it isn't a deagle, manages to put some damage out with the pistol. But this is just another YeniCherry round. It's what we expected.
Yeah, absolutely. And that car position, so pivotal here for the YeniCherry CT side. They're getting so much done by having that angle down lower streets, down A long, and potentially for the retake. Because you can see a lot of the time, Getiter is playing that lower streets position and then rotates over towards car when need be. And that's such a great angle to help support the rest of your team as they filter in back towards the site.
Okay, Getiter swinging out on the far side of the smoke, disperses all of his bullets and runs out, even pulling out the USP. Doesn't realize there's another player yet within that smoke, and Kens is going to be the one to get it done. Off now in control of this player. If anyone is hoping to swing out from the CT position, that would be an ill-advised move, but multiple players coming through CT spawn, just holding it down. Not sure where their counterparts may be.
Ken's completely cutting off A long here. A little bit of a jump peek, it looked like, by Coco. Doesn't seem to get much done there, but might have been enough information gained to back all the way up. With this 3-on-2 against an off, this is going to be a big ask here, but they do have rifles to play that long range fight if need be, and just through the smoke, L1's going to take a head down. And now they're going to push up, throwing that bomb out, looking like they're going to try and get some shots out to see where that last player is, but Gertz does not take the bacon and instead fire through the smoke, has to fall back. The Molly's putting some pressure on them, and L1 now going to get right above. Here comes a frag grenade, not going to find anything. Actually, no, it does. Hits Chippy directly. That's huge. Makes a 2-on-1 situation, but look at this cross angle. It's be so hard to push up onto the site.
It would only work out if they're... Okay, no, it won't work out.
Yeah, well, you know. I said the frag didn't hit anything, and it actually did. Happened.
Well, I mean, I was about to say, it'll only work out if he does this, but I didn't even get a chance to finish it, so I was like, well, you didn't do what I was going to say, so it didn't work out.
Gotta keep us in mind when they're making these plays happen. Come on.
Yeah, think about us.
Making us look bad.
That's the last thing you want.
Position there, yeah. Getiter cannot find anything. It's Kens and Chippy who get the better of him. And now the full A-long push, at least 4 members here. Leaves the bomb behind, just try to spray down, using that smoke as cover to get the cross angle, or at least get someone into pit, and it will be I'm Useless Trash who puts that position. But look how far the CTs up are in tunnels, right? So they know B is cleared and likely no push is coming from there, and they're about to find out that mid is completely open, which means now they can use that information to route out the remaining players at A-long.
And there's the start of it. Ken's picking up 1 long-range kill, but Getiter sending it right back with the damage. Another Brashy up on the site, hoping to get something going with that deagle. Doesn't make any connections, jumping up with the little gank. Sending out some shots, but not making any connections until finally we do have Brashy fall to the ground. Coco and Gertz, last one, they are severely damaged and caught in a pinch position. They're going to back off.
Yeah, with just pistols here around that, they're going to try to conserve their lives if they can. But that's pretty much as they could have expected here. To get the 1 kill on Kens is really not that bad, considering they didn't buy it all. So I would say that's a slight victory here, a small win in a larger war. But the bomb is going to explode without any more pressure coming through. The CTs are trying to avoid the hunt by completely splitting up and going to the complete opposite side of the map here. So with that said, 4 members of the T is alive. They'll get things a little bit closer going into the next round.
Yeah, with that hardware in hand, we're going to give Ken back that up. It should be a good scenario here. But Coco, looking to find some revenge. Going up with the glass cannon up. Only just light armor, no Kevlar. Having a attempt to regain control in the sniper duel. Actually, make that 2 ops. Khaki on the prowl, on that sniper hunt as well. Let's see if either of these players can find success in the face of Kens, who's been deadly with Khaki looking down towards lower tons on that boost. One wrong mistake, that could be the end of any sort of lurk, but Kens already putting in that work on A-long. Gonna take out one of the ops already.
Yeah, peeking through doors and taking out the only player in A-long here. They don't have enough information to know that that's the only player here because they haven't committed up through mid. And they can't do that really if they did because Khaki's waiting right there with the op. So if the second someone peeks their head out, it's going to get taken clean off. And we're about to see that happen potentially, but there's 2 players about to push. Might be able to get the better of him. waiting. There's the flash,
Ooh.
has to fall back. The shot looked like it could have still landed, but just off the mark, and they're going to use that molly to push back those two catwalk players. Brash is going to join the upper, but now that they know that those catwalk players are backed up and they already have control of A long, this is the opportunity for Tease to start to push an advantage over towards A, but they're hesitant to do that because they still don't know where Gertz and Geditor are.
Gonna be a molly right into the corner by Chippy, clearing out anyone with any cheeky angles, as we've seen have been to the detriment of either squad in the previous series. So have to ensure that no one is making their way through. Kaki gonna get taken down by L1 the second they bring off Gank. And in a matter of moments, heads in L1. Last one's alive. Both players, however, have control of the A site. Up in hand, looking down Cat. Both players actually looking down Cat. That's where they expect the main opposition to come from, in a high position on top of some boxes.
Oh, from lower streets, Geditor finding an angle he's been working on, but there goes Kenz, puts one down, but Brashy will come out on top. After that one op kill, you do not have enough time to recover against the rifle. The defuse will come through easily here with just enough time to spare. Even if they have the defuse kit for Kurtz, Brashy's the one that's going to get it done with style. It is a 6-3 lead here for YeniCherry, and I got to point out, I love how YeniCherry, even though they got mollied out, they got flashed out at Catwalk, they didn't completely give it up. They then moved back into that position and shut that down, forcing the site push to happen elsewhere, which set up Geditor to get a kill from lower streets.
Yeah, and it's also quite crucial that them winning that round, they're able to recover 2 ops and bring them back to Coco and Kaki. So they could both maintain long-range pressure. Uh-oh, Kaki getting a little bit close for comfort here.
Wow.
And that is going to be a grave mistake. A little aggression has gone a long way here for Drypeek. New up in hand and a little bit of long-range pressure. Just get it her hanging around the corner from CT. Does have backup in the form of Coco, so that's an op you got to worry about, but he's going to jump up on top, get into sight, gets the shot onto Kenz. There goes your own op. Now, they have to put this to work in long-range pressure at no scope, maybe a second, but it won't be. However, this attack is starting to fall apart. Rash coming in for the flank. Just puts too much pressure here on Drypeek.
YeniCherry's utility there was just fantastic. Both Chippy and Gank got flashed as they tried to enter and immediately got pulverized. Coco fell back. That's the flash right there that hits both of them. And that sets up the blindness as they try to, they have no idea where to look. And then Coco making it look clean and simple. And that's all you need to do right there after some awesome flashbang play.
Yeah, looking into a attack pause here. You got to reset and reassess your mental. It started off nicely when I believe Kaki went way too close, got way too close and gave up the op, forcing them to just think for a second, wait a minute, we have to have a tighter control on our site. And it did work out eventually by stalling out the players, getting some long-range shots out of Coco, and things did end up eventually going to YeniCherry's way. We're getting an inside look.
Whoa, his neck.
At YeniCherry. An inside look.
He looks very stressed.
I mean,
we got a tech pause here as we are inspecting this fellow. The wrinkles. I mean, that's understandable, right? Pretty stressed out characters, I would say.
yeah, I would imagine you're putting your lives on the line every single day.
For esports.
Yeah, for esports.
Putting your life on the line for esports. That's
You know, we do that.
You set that hairline a little bit back here, right? The farther you go into a tournament, the farther back your hairline goes. Just how it is. You got to make sacrifices.
Yeah.
And,
Instead, you don't put your whole body into gaming.
hey, sometimes you have to. That's the difference between the good and the greats, right? The toll that's taken on your body as a
Yeah.
gamer.
If you're just a husk of a person at the end of your sports career, you really did
You're
it.
doing something right.
You
yeah.
really made it.
All right, so we have Gank, who's going to wait out this molly a little bit. Kaki looking down the same, similar cat angle that they've been taking mostly. They've usually looked through down tunnels, but that smoke's covering it, so they're going to wait that out for just a moment. On the other side of that smoke are 4 members of the T's here as Drypeek looking to try to sneak in potentially up towards Catwalk, and they're going to, but Kaki is ready and waiting. Shot whiffs, and they have to fall back. A lot of pressure going through. But as Brashu gets on the board first, pushing through, Kaki gets put down by the Tech 9, and now A-Long's completely opened up here by Getiter, who's going to push up onto the site. Molly comes out. Catwalk is getting crazy, but again, the lower streets position here has been popping off every single time for YeniCherry. They have such good angles here, and Getiter is now swinging in wide, almost towards the Molly. Coco gets those shots in for 2, almost for 3, and gets the 3rd. And can they get more? A 4th one their way. And Coco cleaning things up and will be able to get the defuse.
This is such a strong team effort coming out from YeniCherry. All of these players are making their headlines, their names show up in the kill feed, and all of them are working together to ensure victory every single time. A well-balanced squad is exactly what you need to make your move throughout this event.
A well-oiled machine for sure, and YeniCherry now establishing a 5-round lead. And this is some just great information gathering, you know, like the angles being held here by YeniCherry. They're really figuring out where the T pushes are coming. They're so good at utilizing that lower streets position and rotating onto site for these retakes. Overall, looking so strong as a squad.
Yep, and there's the face again, the face of victory. At least up until this point, at least for this half so far.
Looks like we have another pause here. Might be another tech pause potentially, so we're going to get the inside of this guy's skull.
Thank you to our observers.
So this is real production right here. That's for sure. This is behind the scenes.
Yeah, BTS.
Behind the skull.
Behind the skull.
Yeah.
All right, I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
You can use that. Put that in your back pocket. Save that for later.
Gotcha.
No problem. We have the 3 skull line here for YeniCherry. You're gonna see that replay here, and this is, I mean, this is not unfamiliar whatsoever. Coco, in that situation, getting 4 kills, lining things up, and that lower streets advantage. You would think having the high ground would be the play, but they've been able to just pivot off of that position so often. That lower streets car area has just been all YeniCherry all day, and it's been integral to holding off these site pushes, which, by the way, I mean, I feel like we've barely gotten any action towards B, right? It's been all A all day long. I wonder if Drypeek may want to change things up.
I think it was just the pistol round.
Yeah,
started
I think so,
off. Yeah. There's got to be a change in the pace. There's got to be a change over here. If they can maintain control of A long, I think it would be a pivotal move. However, watch out. Useless Trash hanging out by the car. Brashy, you're going to get a little aggressive. You got to be on the lookout, because you are not the only person holding this angle. Whoever's going to move first. Oh, he still looks. Brashy wins with a flick.
Wow, Brashy looking second, but gets the kill first. Then you can see Ken's getting on the board there, opening things up on A site. That car is now completely taken out, but Coco is hanging out below Catwalk at spawn, now moving over towards B. Again, likely a retake situation here because they do have Brashy on Catwalk as well, so they can hit from multiple angles here, except from A long, and that's the problem because they have Ken still sitting in that long range area. If they have a little bit of utility, they might be able to cut that angle off, but it's going to be hard with that op still in play on the retake.
Site taking control. The bomb will go down. Multiple players from Cat. 3, in fact. And Singular Gertz out of CT. It's going to be an absolute brawl. We need to maintain Ken's op position. That's going to be the key. They can stop anyone from coming down from CT, but actually L1 going to get it done. Swapping over to the op. It's all up to Coco. Whoever's going to win this duel would win the round. Coco, however, deciding, no, we're going to save this up, but you can't, because Chippy, with a long return, a long flank, an A-long flank that also happened to be long, ended up stopping that safe, removing the op from the hands of that player, and just put him in a little bit of an advantage. Still, a long way to go to end up with an equalizer here. Was that, in fact, a kill?
Wow.
Was that a kill?
That was what a flick, honestly. That is an indescribable position there. And then we have a half-life from YeniCherry and L1.
Oh, no.
That is 3 kills in a row. Gank also not going to be outdone there. Gets on the board, and now it's just Coco with the scout by themselves. Moving to prayer. We've heard that before. We're going to say it again. 10-7 looking to try and get on the board once more, but it's just a little bit of damage they can do. Doesn't see the player hanging out at spawn and somehow gets away.
What?
And then turns and takes him out. Another shot, not going to find targets. Gank, the only one to go down so far, but they are being whittled away by this scout. Ken's also hitting the ground. Another shot almost barely whiffing. Coco in the driver's seat until it finally breaks down. I'm Useless Trash gets the final kill there to make it 5 rounds for Drypeek.
They allowed way too much damage to come out of that player.
Yeah.
It seemed like we were being trolled for a little bit with how long they were walking around with the scope up, but let's take a look back at L1 getting an easy triple here against YeniCherry. Huge. Absolutely decimated those players trying to get a forward push onto long.
And look at that spray transfer too, right? Like that was just really well held. And the T's are now going to give a chance at B site. But because they've kind of conditioned YeniCherry to, expect a lot of at least 3 or 4 players and a lot of utility use at A long, because that hasn't come out yet, the CTs make a perfect read here and they 5-stacked on B site. And look how hesitant Drypeek are now to push that, because they know now from L1 pushing up A long that there's pretty much no one there unless they're holding lower streets. So they have to know that the CTs are all basined on B site, and that looks like that's why they're playing so hesitantly right now.
Interesting timing for them to decide to stack up over onto B. The one time that they even considered pushing through that area. However, with that information gained, it's that forward checkout from L1. They realize, guys, just head on over. Oh, wow. L1 all the way from car spotted that player. Get it there. Going to be taken out quite easily. And that rotation, it's going to be good. In fact, this whole time, did L1 have the bomb? Oh, no, they must have thrown it up to him.
Yeah, as much as they really can't do too much from B, that's essentially how you go downwards. You go around, right? Like, they do get Kens, but it's a lot harder to stack on A with a pistol, just a lot longer ranges you have to take. You're not going to be able to win those fights against rifles, whereas on B site, there are less angles to take to potentially ward them off, but you have a lot of areas to hide with the pistol and hold closer angles. So the B site stack makes sense in that regard, and Drypeek do take the round, only losing 1 body. Uh-oh.
Oh, Coco with 2 on the off, finding 2 players on suicide, looking for another one and finds it. Last 2 players, just Chippy and I'm Trash rushing out onto B. They have no other idea, no other strategy, but they're just gonna send it down. Gertz holding it down. It's all up to Trash, but I mean, just sending the rest to 1v4. That's a wrap.
Yep, once YeniCherry is able to buy back out, they get right back into this, and they finish off the half strong with that last round win here. And look again, looked like L1 might be able to get that, but Coco breaking some ankles a little bit there with the crouch and pops in, and then another shot. Coco just nasty with that sniper.
Without a doubt, 2 formidable players. Normally we would look to Kaki as the sniper on this squad, but Coco actually making a name for themselves here on Dust 2. And it's 9-6 right now, going into the second half. Advantage YeniCherry. Let's see if they can keep that momentum and keep that strength and push us all the way to a map point potentially. It's only going to take 6 more rounds to go, but anything can happen. They could just run it right through.
Anything can literally happen here, like literally anything. Yes, and you can see Getiter is now going to rejoin the team a little bit towards mid. It looks like they might go for a push right through double doors, and they do after that flash comes out, but it looks like immediately Gertz was put down, so as they push in, they're going to have to hold off 2 angles at once. They use the smoke to cut off the spawn angle so they can push up towards B, and now it's a 3-on-2 as they go in, and L1, no way! That is ridiculous. 4 in a row, cleans them up, and quickly ends that round.
L1, that's a player who's known to lock down sites. They are good at that's kind of reminiscent of the players flooding out of apartments back on Inferno.
Yep.
Players flooding out of window, and the composure was kept. Drypeek holding on thanks to L1 once again. L once again. There we go. Had to do it.
And already, Gertz going down pretty early in this round, so not the best start here for YeniCherry. They're still going to commit towards Catwalk, but they have the smoke giving them a little bit of cover to jump down to double doors. There's no one waiting for them as well, but they got to worry about the lower streets position. They don't check it, and Gertz gets one. Kenz gets on the board, and now they're just trading off. Another upper mid kill as well. And now it's a, ooh, Coco at least going to take one down with them before they go away. And now they're going to try to run, get out of dodge, avoid the hunt here as the CT is continuing to jockey for position that is not going to be pressured over at CT. I think they've finally gotten that clue, and they're going to push up and try to look for that one remaining player here. There's still a lot of time on the clock, so absolutely could happen, and it looks like they're going to start to spread out to look for this remaining player.
Might be a wraparound to recover a stronger piece of hardware. Maybe even get a second player and, you know, just confuse them a little bit as to where Coco is situated. And I think if they go all the way down to... What is that noise?
Someone must be playing with their gun, I think.
Yep, I think so. Stop messing around. We got a game here, okay?
This is serious business. Coco is gonna peek out just a little bit and gives up their kneecap there as a result. And then Drypeek will push up and confirm. It is now a 1-round differential between these two teams on map 1. It's really as close as it could possibly get, aside from it being an outright tie, but neither of these teams really want to be giving up much at all. This is a map that is looking evenly matched between two teams that are evenly matched on a map that really at this point could go either way.
Yeah, that is the way we see it when we're looking at teams who have made it so far throughout this event, but not much can be seen by Kenz after that flash from Gertz, and it's starting to be a stronger, aggressive attack out on A long. All 4 remaining players have been situated outside of those doors, but we do have one player in that deadly position by the car. It's Gank. If anyone decides to make their way up this street, they're going to have to face off with that horrible corner.
4-on-4 situation with Gertz in the pit here, so Gertz will be able to keep Gank locked in that car position if they continue to hold this angle. And I'm Useless Trash is going to back up a little bit, but could contest that pit position and does so. Peeks back out, gets the kill, and opens things up for Gank to get out of there. But Gank's going to hold that position until they realize the push is now coming in potentially towards B. Instead, the T's are going to now look through lower tunnels, and that's a good choice because the Molly would have cut them off from B. But here comes that one player I'm Useless Trash at double doors with the angle on the rifle. Not noticing that they're going up to Catwalk. Oh, has an idea, but doesn't actually catch the image of them walking away. So now they're going to be able to push up onto its A site, but here comes the shots from Gank down A long.
Oh, but he's got to know. I'm Useless Trash, following them over into Cat, cutting down one and decimating the health of another. Getiter so low, it's going to take one more bullet to drop him. If they have this team play precise, if they can work off each other and get those angles, it's all but over.
Great cross there. Once there was no CT or no T player sitting in car, holding those 2 angles from Cat and down A long is the perfect setup you need because they essentially pinched those last 2 players on the site itself. There was nowhere for them to go. The only cover they have is actually on the crates on the site itself. It's very little room to work with, and you can't cover yourself from Catwalk if you're trying to avoid that long-range shot down A long on the site itself. And they also couldn't transition over into the cubby looking over Catwalk. So without a lower streets position, they're kind of up a river without a paddle.
Caught in a most likely unwinnable situation. And that positioning out from, I believe, Drypeek, or no, YeniCherry worked out well.
9-9. Look at that. This is really what it comes down to, right? 2 teams that do not want to give up. You see YeniCherry here not going to go for a forced buy in any you know, means of the definition, right? Like they're going to make it work with what little they have here and try to take a couple of rifles out of the hands of Drypeek on this eco. And look at this long A push here, all the way up from L1. The Molly will be greeting them. Gantz is helping them out, but on B site, Ken's taking shots to the dome, stays alive before finally Coco routes him out. 3-on-1 situation on the B site, and I'm Useless Trash going to push in through doors. Can't find Pay Dirt, and now they're going to be helped out with the support here, coming through from L1, who's going to peek in through wall. Instead, looking out through the smoke to put some shots in, not finding anyone on the other side of that either. And here come now the push from through tunnel, all the way down the hallway. It's going to be Gank and L1 are going to be pushing up here while Chippy gets on the site, puts shots down. I'm using Trash, joins the fray, and now they're hitting from all angles. It's a 2-on-1, might be a 2-on-1 to 1-on-1, but no, L1 helping out. They're able to trade off each other, but the trade is not even necessary as they take out that remaining player and get the defuse.
They lost too much before they could get the bomb down. Having 3 players to defend against, I believe, 4, especially when you're on a little less weaponry. It was a force round there, pulling out the MAC-10s and the Tech-9s, but still a good effort out of YeniCherry, getting the bomb down and securing some frags of their own. But when you're looking at Drypeek, the pinch was all around. They were surrounded, and YeniCherry, another case of bad positioning, or at least superior positioning from Drypeek. But let's see if L1 can continue with a good position. Here's the peek. Take a little bit of information there. No damage yet. Get it there, though. Really hurting.
Yeah, Getiter running through that molly, knowing that they were gonna get caught out here by L1, who pushes up, and thankfully Getiter does that. Does put themselves down to 28, but didn't lose their life. They likely would have had they hung out here and fought off L1. So you can see instead Coco is waiting in the wings potentially at the hatchback. Meanwhile, mid positioning is being taken here by Brashy, who's pushed up towards the doors. So that's going to get smoked. 2 players on B side, another 2 on A long. And you can see still L1 holding off this first A1 push if it does come, but Coco refuses to move.
Some players making their way up catwalk. Coco holding steadfast. Even if they do manage to get onto the site and take control, the bomb is far away. They will use a little bit of a jump boost to, or a running boost to send a player to check out Cat. Smokes out. The instant is good too. It's going to put in some damage onto Kaki, a lot of damage onto Kaki, and it's going to let Chippy just fire through the smoke, taking out 2.
And now here comes Getiter pushing up through Cat. Has Chippy still waiting on the site. Those flashes are just out of range there, and so is the molly, so Chippy's going to be able to hold their ground. And here comes the push into CT. It's held off somewhat there by Gank, but they're only able to get 1 kill. They're going to be able to force the 2v1 onto site, and here comes Ken, holding, waiting, gets 2. The monster under the bed comes out and freaks on the T side as they're holding out. 11-9 now. Drypeek taking the lead and running with it.
That was up to 2 separate double kills coming out from the defense. A great instant and eventual smoke from the defenders. I think this came out earlier from Getiter. It was that MP9, a very big play, and it demonstrates the value of that car position. But right now, it was holding opposite positions, just general sight holding and preventing Cat from doing anything.
Mid positioning, kind of held up towards upper mid here by Gertz and Kaki, even though it's smoked out towards doors. They haven't really been able to get too much information. They also do not realize that L1 is pushed all the way up right on the other side of Coco, who is holding that strong. It's going to be a really, really solid push. But again, Coco does not move, refuses to move from this position like they did the previous round. So L1 kind of taking themselves out of the fight a little bit. At the very least, though, they're going to be ready and waiting on this harsh, aggressive angle against 4 players. Can L1 do it here? Okay.
It's the trigger disappointed. Finds almost 3. Still, 2 is a great number to get. With that patience, it was rewarded. Gertz and Coco, the position has been revealed and the plan is known. They have to fall back and rotate.
Great positioning there by L1 with that aggressive angle. The fight came to them, and they took it on head on. And now this A long push, here it comes from Coco and Gertz.
Smoke's on site. They don't have any good visuals on the enemy, but Gertz jumped onto site, firing through the smoke. It doesn't make it. It's not cutting it. Ken's finding Coco down by the car. No one can even manage to get onto site. Well, I mean, the body of Gertz got onto site. Such great trigger discipline. Something we've actually seen in the past from Coco on the other side.
Getting crouched on that 3rd kill, which could have been devastating how they landed that. And then the flank from behind to open up the ladder area of A long to pinch at the end of that round. Oh, flash comes out. But yeah, that was looking good the last round. And now shots coming in. And so much aggression here at A long.
Yeah, 3 players looking to meet their opponents over here by A, and the bomb is going down. Double doors is the last bastion for Gertz, looking to pick up a 1 dig, and they might find it. Oh, a little bit of a flex, sending the knife out.
Whoa.
Oh, he almost just styled. They are styling on him. They are, in fact, styling on him, pulling out the knives just to make him sweat.
Pretty sure they jumped on Gertz's head there.
That is what happened.
Literally head stomping him like a Goomba, but still going down as a result. I think we might be able to see that again. Shots going in. Gertz gets the kill, or rather almost gets the kill. But yeah, stomping on the head a little bit. Love to see it.
Missed shot from our Ken's down mid, or useless trash, rather. A little bit of trades going on in the tunnels. Nothing serious. We do have 3 players actually making their way through a double doors, but no strong commitments there. But actually, here we go. The smoke's out, the utility's here, and running back to the car, that crucial spot is going to be Ken's with the op.
Slowly but surely here is Chippy making their way downtown, walking slowly, and on the cross, catches Gertz looking and lacking. Falling back now, and you can see Kaki's like, oh, I wish I was there to help you out, my friend. No trade possible. They're going to coalesce back around here and call, and then look for another peek through A long, but our friend Ken's is hanging out in car position with that long angle that will certainly stop this push.
Not much utility to work with here. They have a few flashes and maybe a molly to send it out, but it looks like it's a running boost. They do get a leg onto Coco, and now the self-preservation smoke is here. Yeah. Sending out a flash for their compadre is gonna be Chippy, but what does it really get done? They're flashing just to make an escape, or at least feign an escape.
Oh, Ken's gonna get the better of Gettitor there. And look at this A-long push when stopped before it even starts, though. As Ken's tries to make their way out of car position, they got taken down for the count. Coco needs a new hip after that jump and the jump boost, but still gonna peak nonetheless. Up against Chippy, who says no. Bomb goes down. Kaki with just an op and a dream, but not able to confirm the kill. It's gonna back all the way up. Does not want to lose this op. Instead, they do, and Drypeek now with a 5-round lead.
Yeah, an unfortunate leg in that final moments of trying to pick up a kill before you go for a save or just make a run for it. Looked back at one point, one final last look at the fray. Ended up being the last look they had that entire round.
5-round lead here for Drypeek. Another eco round here for YeniCherry. So far, Drypeek has not lost very much against these eco rounds, right? Like, they've been doing really solid, keeping the guns in their hands. And even if that wasn't the case, look at the money on Drypeek, right? Chippy's at 5 figures and then some. Even I'm Useless Trash at 5 figures as well, making a great salary here. So really, they can afford to rebuy a few times. YeniCherry is going to force buy, it seems, instead, and completely buy out. They had the loss bonus to work with, so no eco needed. And that means they're going to walk right in and try to do some damage early.
And we have Gank getting aggressive into the tunnels and takes down Gettitor. Coco out looking for revenge. He's going to walk in and spots the barrel of Gank, and Gank is not expecting it. Coco continues that walk out. Might even leave the tunnels. Might even push over into double doors, but they got the bomb. They can't risk anything like that. Up at the top of mid, Skaki hoping to find an angle, but nobody's going to be coming through mid. Brashy doing damage in the lower tunnels, though.
Very devastating play by Brashy. And Kaki, meanwhile, holding up mid. All the way down B site, though, is on Useless Trash. Shot comes through, and Brashy wishes they could have that one back. That's going to get the T's into a frenzy a little bit. They're now going to scout around and potentially go towards mid, but that's going to be Ken's. Pick it up 1, pick it up 2. It's a 2-on-1 situation. Now Ken's is racing back up top mid because Coco might run back into him. Ken's does not find him, and Coco might actually be able to get behind Ken's here and force a 1v1, but will Coco find out? No, running right around. They're about to meet each other. Who's going to get the better? Coco runs by, Ken's tags him, but Coco gets by nonetheless. And now you have this lower street spawn position being held by I'm Useless Trash. The angle's being set up here, and Coco has no utility to cross over with except that one little smoke. It will cover them up. It's not perfect, but it's just enough to get them into the car position. And they're going to continue to move forward once they have the clearance to do so. Instead, opting to hang back at Carr until finally they're going to push up onto the site here and get around that lower position here, held by I'm Useless Trash, who's pushed up pretty far, but they have to worry about Catwalk. That's being held by Kens.
It's going to be a fake, but it isn't good enough because I'm Useless Trash from behind, sent him with a wall bang, and now we are on map point here on Dust 2.
Drypeek really running away with this one. Looks like, I believe, 6 rounds in a row at least. YeniCherry. They bought out last round, and now they're buying out again. They are at low, low, low money here. They need a stimmy. Right? They're desperate for a stimmy.
Where the stimmy at? Where the loss bonus at? A lot of flame damage, and Kens and Gank lighting up both of the players trying to run through that double door scenario, and a bit of aggression does in fact come to bite I'm Useless Trash in the butt as Coco picks up 2 and negates the real advantage that Drypeek had through that scenario.
T-side, YeniCherry. They find that one player over in CT, but then Chippy makes it 2, runs right in and stops it in their tracks, and now Kaki with the op, but very little HP here. Might be able to get this long-range kill onto Chippy before they turn around, but Kaki has so little to work with and can't really safely jiggle any of these angles. So they're going to use the smokes to cut off those 2 openings on B site and maybe, just maybe, get a kill, maybe get the bomb down for a little extra cash, but they're going to look for the peak first.
Well, the info's there. They know they got to at least be from double doors or windows. Gonna peek out the window, and Kaki's gonna fall. Chippy secures map 1 for Drypeek.
Over and over again, and L1 is a player I'm gonna look for in that pit position, absolutely. But things are gonna start off with our first round here on Inferno. This is map 2 of this set. We're still here at Fragadelphia. There's points on the line. There's money on the line. There's this map, this series on the line here, and lives are going down at that cost.
Gank opening it up over on Banana. Puts the first one into Kaki's dome. We still have a spread out players making their way through apartments. Chippy hanging out with the balcony, you know, not giving anything up too deep just yet. But it is a experimental position. They don't know whether or not they want to make a commitment through Banana or through apartments, but these signs currently point to Banana.
Yeah, all things pointing up there. 4 players now going to make their way, and this is Drypeek's bread and butter, you know? They have these 2 players sitting up there. We actually have I'm Useless Trash and Gank set up on the site itself, but actually a bit back towards construction. Not holding these harsher angles. I'm Useless Trash in the perfect position to drop that bomb 3 on 2. The smokes are allowing the T's to move in, but here comes the rotation of the CT. Still on site here is Gank, who can't follow through. And now you have I'm Useless Trash trying to hold off the front until support can come in.
And there's site control. The bomb's going to go down. I'm Useless Trash hanging out in construction, waiting for the squad. The rest of them come from CT. A little bit of a eager swing there. They're going to get taken down. However, help has arrived, if not a little too late, forcing one player back in the dark. 1 for a full run rotation outside of construction. Brashy can't keep themselves in the game as L1 takes down 2.
Great clearance there on the site, checking every single corner. And it also helped that one of the YeniCherry players flanked through Church, because that's set up a potential to push that one player at the back of site. L1 kicking things off with 2 quick ones. Love to see it, and that set the tone for that game.
Yeah, I mean, we know L1. We understand their holding capabilities. I mean, that was more of a retake, but we understand that this player is a headhunter. Always looking for those headshots, and found actually turned out to be 3 at the end of that first round, sending out some incendiaries to block off aggressive pushes that we would expect on a second round. Force huge nade, taking Coco to the brink of death, but they just won't give in to the warm embrace just yet. Ken's backing off, has the smoke in hand, understands there's going to be a big push. Got to swap over to the MP9, and, well, you got to let those bullets fly the second you see the enemies. And they do. Useless Trash there for a big help. Jumping through the smoke. Ken's and Trash doing some serious work.
Smart play there by Drypeek, knowing that they had the rifle advantage. They played a lot more fluidly. It looked like they were even potentially going to rotate back over to the other site. They don't have to hold on the site itself because they're dealing with pistols, and they stayed in a big group of 3 to do so. And then once the T's came in, they pushed aggressively through the smoke. Kens face checking it and gets 2 at the end. Very big play to shut down that push.
Now finally with rifles in hands, utility at bay. Oh, it's going to be a big flash on the trash. Walks in looking in the wrong position and will pay for his life with it. Eli on the other side from mid does manage to get that initial pick, but will stay back by Arches. The play has been slowed down. Few players by Banana. One looking to creep into apartments. But the aggression hasn't stopped here, but nothing's really being done at this point except a lot of damage being taken left side of YeniCherry.
Yeah, Banana is a hookah lounge out here with so much smoke and so much fire being burned. It shuts down things completely. And that has Ken's backing up a little bit. Going to have a swap of position there with Gang. He's going to hold this down as instead the push is going to head over to A site.
Getiter briefly tasting those flames, does make it out and swings through from Boiler, finds their target. One more player, Chippy, hanging out on site. The MP9 finds one, looking for a second, does manage to get it. I don't know if there's enough bullets in that SMG to work out damage, but Chippy still alive. The Molly's coming. The Molly chips him away, just to 1 bit of health, 6 HP, but from the balcony. Brashy puts him down. YeniCherry gets their first round.
And they're certainly happy about that one. They don't want to let it start running away. You lose that kind of third round, you're likely going to be down 4-0 or 5-0 after that in this meta. So we're going to see how that went down. Chippy on the site, hanging out on the box, falls back to change the angle that the next swinger has to deal with, and then goes back into that right position. I love how they just the micro positioning right there to change the angles for every individual player that was going to swing. Very smart.
Yeah, being able to swap those players out to have the correct player come in, deal some damage, take a little bit of hits if they need to. But the tag team move is critical there. Looking at a potential tech pause real quick.
Yeah, I think that potential is a reality at the moment. Team's still getting a little situated here. Once again, Drypeek up 1-0 in the series. There are only a few teams left in the bracket, only a few rounds left in the bracket, and only so much money that you can grab depending on your placement. $5,500 on the line for first place. Qualifying points for these teams to move on through the Fragadelphia circuit at this regional qualifier. Part of the Winter Championships. There's a lot on the line here for these teams, and certainly they do not want to advance unless everything is down pat and ready to go.
Absolutely not, and apologies to the folks at home. Normally we would have forced the tech pause earlier.
That's
in
true.
The game.
Yeah, that's usually what happens at the beginning of the first round, the end of the first round. But we were so powered up by the Myconikes that we didn't think about it until now. Now that we've come to our senses a little bit more, calmed down a little bit. Like, okay, now it's time to hit the tech pause button.
Yeah, our bad, folks. Our bad.
Not our bad. Hey, we're in control here. As you know, casters control the pace of the game, so should not be any surprise to anybody here. You can see, looks like this might be a Drypeek problem, as the YeniCherry squad is kind of hanging out without much reaction, so I think there is an issue on the Drypeek side. Instead, just as this thing get kicked off, 2-1. This is really right here where you're on the edge of your seat, because so much on the line. You want to get to that map 3, right? You don't want to let this slip by so early. And this is what we saw yesterday too, right? Where you're behind a little bit, or even earlier today, like where you're behind and you start to bring things back at the end of the map, but because you've already given up so many rounds earlier in the map that your margin of error is so small, you give up the 1 round and it's over, even if you're on a 7-round win streak. So that's what you want to avoid here early. You don't want to be giving up those early rounds. You want to keep things close so when you maybe start to hit on all cylinders later in the map, there's a smaller gap you have to cross.
Of course, yeah. You don't want to have a mountain to climb, even if you have the ability to climb it. You don't want to put yourself in that situation.
Yeah, you don't want to be up there.
No. You want to be the mountain.
You want to be the mountain.
You want to be the mountain.
Unfortunately, you don't want to be Season 8 of Game of Thrones. You just want to be previous season's mountain.
You know, I'll accept it.
Okay.
I'll accept it because he's like some sort of zombie type deal. I don't fully really.
I don't really know how that character works, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of stuff in that story I don't understand. I'm honestly only 3 books in,
Oh, so you read.
I do, you know, surprisingly enough, I know how to read. Yeah.
I mean, that was one of the tests that we did earlier when
It's one of the
you could read
requirements,
the player names. Yeah, I can't do that, so I'm just calling players
You're
random
an audiobook
names.
guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. You look like an audiobook guy.
Yeah, I look like a guy that can't read. That's kind of like what my aesthetic is. Illiterate. That's
Yes, that's what I think of. No, I don't. I think you're the most literate person I know.
You know, if we were gonna rank a top 10 literate people, I think I'm a strong 7
Strong 7. Hey,
of,
man.
of the most literate people.
That's not, I think that's pretty on the mark. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I'm
think you're
not
on there.
gonna toot my own horn here and say I'm the best reader of all time. But,
Okay.
You know, I'm hanging with the greats.
You're up
we're,
there.
We're bumping elbows.
You're not Shakespeare.
No.
You know, but you're.
Well, I mean, have you ever read his plays? They were absolute nonsense in terms
they
of
were
the
nonsense.
English. Yeah.
It's no explosions.
No.
Nothing cool like that.
No. No. Honestly.
Uh,
Like Shakespeare who?
Shakespeare who exactly?
I mean, he's not in Fragadelphia, so why should I? Why should I even think
Shakespeare's
about
so
them?
cool. What happened to Shakespeare too?
Yeah, exactly.
Guess we'll find out at some point. This tech pause continues here. Thank you for your patience, everyone. Remember, it is 2-1 for Drypeek over YeniCherry, and Drypeek does have the series advantage at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And after this, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's losers finals and grand finals, right? So like this is where right here you have very little left, and you got to, like we were talking about earlier, you got to still have gas in the tank, right? You want to have some mic connects, but really though, you want to have that gas in the tank. Stuff like this will wear on you. You know, you got to be able to keep up that mental fortitude, not only to secure the series, get through this pause, to secure the series, but still have energy to go through the remaining of the tournament.
Yeah, when you have energy in your body, but it's not being spent throughout the game, you're not really thinking about anything. You don't have a task. You can kind of just be drained in these moments. So if you have something to put your mind to, it's actually being used, stimulated, and you have a reason to actively work at it. However, right now, listening to mindless commentary is starting to melt away.
Yeah, that's the thing, especially after you have like a few intense rounds and you have that like energy and the adrenaline from it. This is really going to ice you down, you know. But this is kind of part of the game, right? You got to be able to deal with moments like these where you kind of get chilled out, you kind of get iced, whether intentionally or not intentionally, right? So if you have the inadvertent icing here, for example, which wasn't intentional, you still have to keep your energy up. You got to be able to keep your mind in the game, which is not necessarily the easiest thing to do, not only for the circumstances, but through the pause, making sure your equipment's good to go. I mean, a lot of that's 50% of the game is your preparation, your mental.
Yeah, I mean, knowing is half the battle, I've heard. I think that's a G.I. Joe.
I don't know.
Is that a G.I. Joe?
I'm not a G.I. Joe guy. That's before my time.
Okay, yeah, I am younger than you, so it's before both of our
I was gonna
times.
say, it's before your time as well. Yeah, you know it. So what does that say about me? My references are limited, my friend.
Yeah, well, it is what it is, and so is our ability to have a perfect world. You know, we can't have a very extremely smooth line tournament. Sometimes you have to deal with these bumps in the road, that being a tech pause.
You know, it's not just about the destination, it's about the journey as well.
And the pauses that you take, the breaks as well. You know, yeah, those are factored in.
The pauses were just the friends we made along the way.
Yeah. I don't think people are allowed to talk besides us during these breaks, so we're making friends. They're not. They're just sitting around.
Definitely not. Making friends with those hot hands,
Yeah,
which
I mean,
I'm very envious of. I'm looking at those, I'm like, throw them my way. I wonder if anyone would be able to throw from that stage all the way from here. That
I
would
mean,
be
there's like a lot in the way.
that's what I'm saying. If they were able to throw one of those from all the way over here, which is like, I mean, what we got, 50 feet away at least.
And that would have to be mainly like they'd have to do like a nice frisbee.
They'd have to
frisbee
yeet it
type.
sideways. Yeah, they'd have to. That would be very impressive. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I would actually like that. I would like to see that, but I wouldn't like anyone to do it or attempt it, because if you throw it in any normal manner, you're definitely hitting one of the monitors here.
Well, I'm gonna say if you do it, I didn't tell you. Don't blame
Yeah,
me. It's all
that
on
is
you.
true.
All
That's
on
true.
your own volition
Check the VOD.
here. So we continue to wait it out. Players getting things done and getting ready to go here. You can see keeping their spirits up. YeniCherry just kind of chatting amongst themselves. Two teams here who have really done an awesome job, and honestly, I'm very happy we were able to cast both of these teams across both of these days. You know, like we saw YeniCherry yesterday, saw Drypeek earlier today, and now seeing both of them come together, an amalgamation of two teams that we've really enjoyed casting so far and put on an awesome show for us. And honestly, I could see both of these teams potentially taking on In Control, maybe even beating them.
Yeah, you know, it works out perfectly because we don't have to really learn any new teams, and I don't want to learn new names. But yeah, no, both of these squads have shown and proven that they are quite formidable for the reason that it was normally a back-and-forth matchup in the last round in the first map of Dust 2, but, you know, somebody has to come out on top, somebody has to win, and it ended up being Drypeek. But it did end up out of a long miniature streak coming out from Drypeek.
Liking those colored keys right there, by the way. I don't have a cool keyboard like that, but I do have one of those keyboards with a nice wrist rests, which I'm a big fan of. I wonder if anyone would have. I wonder if they have like a Mike and Ike themed keyboard, you know, with the different keys with all the different colors, the fruity, chewy, delicious flavors of the original mix or of Mega Mix.
That would be that would be pretty nice.
Mike and Ike, just saying.
A nice mix of people. You know, speaking of a nice mix of people, Coco, their entire family is out here watching the game today, and you know they're sweating a little bit over that fact. Well, folks at home, to the family of Coco, have no fear. We're going to be getting this game back underway in a little bit. But thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting esports. That's what it's really all about. So a big shout out to the family of Coco, not the player specifically.
Nothing stronger than family.
That's right. It's been a theme here. It's been a theme that family is quite important.
I'm gonna reuse that reference. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? You know?
Bring it back.
Bring it back. It's back in style. Yeah. Now this has been great. Of course, regional qualifier here for Fragadelphia. Money on the line, points on the line. Might be seeing these teams down the road. And honestly, it's great to see how long they made it through. And hey, look, there it is.
There's our chicken.
Friend.
Oh, what's up?
Oh,
it's chicken butt. That's what's
back.
up.
Sheesh. Look at that chicken. Picking out the ground. There's no seeds there, buddy. Yes, big fan. There's our Fragadelphia chicken. Oh, no, it went gone. And, of course, make sure you recharge with some Mike and Ike's.
I'm going to grab
I'm going to.
grab
I know
a few
you're
right
going
now.
to. Yeah.
Looking like an orange, looking like a cherry.
What's your favorite flavor?
Blue?
There's no blue. It's
It's in the Mega Mix.
Okay, that's fair. Out of original fruits, cherry, lemon, strawberry, lime, orange. Come on, hit me with one.
Probably going to have to jump with the strawberry.
Strawberry. I'm with that. I'm a cherry guy. I also like lime. Big fan.
You know, I think lemon and lime often get a bad rep as candy flavors.
Really?
But I think they're pretty solid, you know?
I like lemon lime. It's better than banana. If you like banana flavors, I'm sorry, get out. If you like banana Laffy Taffy,
Get out.
get out.
Get out.
You know what? You know what I've realized? There's no banana Mike and Ike. Because they have a good head on their shoulders. They know not to include that, so I respect that a lot.
You know,
banana flavor is the worst. And that's the thing, too, is I really like bananas, but like the artificial banana flavor, just not my vibe.
You know, we don't like fakes here.
No, definitely not.
We don't like fakes here at Fragadelphia.
Yeah, it's not called Fakeadelphia.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That is right, Dak.
That's right. Still getting ready here to jump back in, hopefully soon, because those first 3 rounds are pretty hype. I was enjoying them.
I was excited to see how it would continue. You know, we're getting a good look at one of the members of YeniCherry, probably the coach. You know, having a coach is a really solid move. You know, it helps you develop as a squad. Someone on the outside.
You know?
You know, and then when you plant the bomb at 7 because time.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Got Father Time on your side here. And it looks like we've got a little bit of a camera angle going, which tells me those cinematics are hinting at me that we're jumping back into this. Drypeek 2 over YeniCherry's 1. And after a little bit of a pause here, we're back into the action here on map 2.
Let's get it. First sending out a smoke. No, switching to a flash. It's going to be L1 with the flash. Swinging out with the Mac, or MP9. Puts in a good amount of damage over onto Kaki, who has evaded into the tunnel.
Smoke should be cutting off mid here. That said, L1 might face checking, stick their way into apartments, but welcoming party is right there and waiting. Brashy also gets on the board here. Now a 3-on-5 situation as the CTs are split up down across the board.
Chippy hanging out in the pit. Normally a spot of L1, but you know they had to back off and reclaim that position now that they're Classic L1 is dead. However, Ganks 88 with the Famous in the corner finds 2 and reveals that this squad is making their way over to B, and it's Trash. A huge 2-piece swinging out, catching him by surprise. And, no surprise here for Chippy. They're going to take down their man as well.
What a reversal, too. I mean, they were down 3-5 on that situation, and then those 2 quick kills from the FAMAS. Absolutely huge. Not only getting those kills, but buying time for the other rifle to swing back in on the flank. So a 2 for 1 right there, and you can see I'm useless Trash. After those 2 FAMAS kills, swings right in because backs are completely turned to him.
Looking like another potential A play. It's really hard to see or understand or telegraph what YeniCherry is doing. They always send up a player into apartments, so we just don't know what's going on in terms of the Inferno push here, whether it's A or B. And that's what I enjoy, being an unpredictable squad, but Gank running all the way down into Banana entrance with the MP9, just trying to be an absolute nuisance, which we're finding a very easy time at.
Yeah, YeniCherry only on the pistols here. I mean, you have a Zeus for Coco.
Uh-oh.
Has the taser ready, but gonna come down to some peeks and some picks. Ken's gonna back off, and they're just trying not to lose any more bodies. In fact, Getader is gonna be picked off down. Banana by I'm Useless Trash, another pickup by them, has one on the board as well as L1. And now in this 5-on-3 situation, a reversal that might not be possible here by YeniCherry. Not gonna be able to trade off of each other. They just have pistols. They have a Zeus. Really just comes down to maybe getting 1 kill here. I'm Useless Trash is holding such a long angle that likely 1 kill could come from a site if anything else.
Yeah, potential if Gertz decides to peek. Well, Gertz isn't going to find anything except a swift death. We have our Zeus hero, Coco, up around. They're the last player here by Boiler. They're going to be spotted out from arches. And that, unfortunately, a hero piece of weaponry. Oh, there it is. It's no, they wasted it.
And that's why you're often seeing these teams stack on pistol round, especially on a map like this, because you can't take those long-range battles, and without the ability to trade off each other, you're essentially losing players 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. That's why you're seeing these teams often just try to stack and roll the dice and see if they can try and take someone down with them.
Yeah, you just have to rely on your teammates, and effectively trading is the way to go. If you're low on equipment, low on weaponry, firepower, whatever it may be, just use bodies at this point to your advantage. You have people. That's what the Russians did in the World Wars. Just threw bodies at them.
Really? What a history.
And, well, this time it's working. They have the AKs in hand. Brashy and Getter, the first ones to open it up. Interesting jump here from Useless Trash going into the fray. A little too aggressive, perhaps. Ganks out here with the MP9. Double flash. Here comes the smoke, and they're going to swing out. Oh, so much damage onto Coco, but it's not enough. They're going to have to make a recommitment. They'll actually just keep spraying through the smoke. Flash comes out, and on the flank, Chippy was hoping for something, but no, it's a YeniCherry round.
Yeah, Gank trying to be a bit more mobile than necessary. Of course, the spray was just all over the place there. And even though the T side chucked the off angles first, Gank still wasn't able to get the upper hand on anybody. That's going to be a round loss. Drypeek up 4-2, and they're going to save a little bit to give themselves a little more firepower while still maintaining the lead on the next round.
Double frag down on mid. Doesn't make too much of a difference. Gertz and Khaki hurt a little bit, but Khaki is doing a little more damage than they received earlier. Nice headshot onto L1. Still maintaining position in the underground, but we do have Brashy pushing up on through into apartments. Flash from the teammate, but hey, it is what it is. They still maintain control.
YeniCherry playing safe here. They're not entirely convinced that this might be a save round here for Drypeek. Even if that's the case, they don't want to get deagled out and lose rifles. So they're still playing this pretty safe despite having the advantage both in guns and in players. Here comes the push onto A site. It's still slow but sure, but they're trying to make sure it's done perfectly. And when against 2 players on the site, these really short angles, a deagle could easily surprise any of the Ts.
And it's just a decision between looking at apartments or looking down from the angle. Brashy making their way around from Boiler if they decide to have this swing. Nobody facing them for now. So it almost feels like a clear sight. Everyone's just out of reach. No, Khaki Gonna send out a probing shot. I don't know if they even knew, but Brashy was there to confirm it. Looking behind, they didn't see that Ken was there with 2 1-Deags. We've known them to be very strong, a Deagle Demon. In fact, now there's 2 more players hoping to get this defense. It's Khaki spraying through the smoke. Don't manage to get their target, but it doesn't matter as Getter is there to clean it up. YeniCherry back in action.
But not at all a bad round by Drypeek. That surprise Deagle's exactly what I was talking about. You're going to see it right here. Ken's 1 shot, 2 shot, and then putting shots down the 3rd player who's going to be forced to rebuy armor. So that's a really solid play there. They don't get the round win, but they did a lot of economical damage.
100%. I mean, that's the best you could do. That's the best you could do if you're defending on an eco round. You know, the main goal if you're attacking, if you're on the tees on an eco, get that bomb planted and do as much damage as you can. Only thing you got on the other flip side is do as much damage as you can.
Pretty much. A lot of the time, that is the name of the game. That's what makes the Deagle so scary, because it's not a huge investment, but the the impact it can have is crazy. So you always have, that's a weapon you have to respect all the time. And I do like that YeniCherry had that in the back of their head. They're like, okay, we figure out they're on the pistol round, but that doesn't mean that this is a clean take for us. And it wasn't. They lost a bunch right there trying to get in. So I like that YeniCherry had that in the back of their head. They had that respect. They got the win, but still Drypeek made their presence known and took down a couple people with them.
Sending out some utility down mid now this time. Useless trash. That is a less than excellent move there. Giving up their M4. Running into the barrage of bullets coming out of YeniCherry. Holding it down in Banana Coco. The only one to take some damage through that scuffle, but I don't think anyone's got their backs toward mid. Finally, someone's going to take a look around, but they will be good. The shots connect. Khaki once to the dome of L1, and this is still looking a little tough. Now they realize, well, someone was flanking, so we might as well check the position they came from.
Yeah, Gank definitely knows off that death from L1 how many players are hanging out Banana, and that's why the CTs are rotating over, because Gank saw L1 saw so many players at Banana, and Gank likely informing the rest of the team that there are that many players there. So the T side's like, all right, we're going to run all the way over to A site. They're going to molly out just in case, right there, over on the side at Cart.
What?
Wait, what happened?
It was just a little bit of a team kill from Brashy onto Coco there.
Might have been a misclick, I would have to think.
I guess, you know, really clearing those corners. Yeah. Nobody is going to be there, not even my teammate.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I mean, the only casualty is going to come from within the own squad. You know, the age-old saying, if anyone's going to kill my teammates, it's going to be me.
That's true. Very, very true. As bodies drop and other things drop as well. We see more bullets flying through apartments. We should be good to go. In a 3-on-3 situation, the time is ticking down, and now we get some aggression back from the T's. They're going to go back into the hunt. The entry to the exit frags are not going to come in immediately, as apartments are still being held, but the corners are not being pushed on. And Drypeek will survive with 3 players, but in that round they will not take it. YeniCherry will be up on 4.
A little bit of silliness coming out there. Gang taking advantage of that one.
Yes, sir.
We like to have fun here. A little bit of tomfoolery.
A little bit of fun. A little memeing, a little trolling, a little gaming. You know what it is? You know what it is, that Fragadelphia.
Yeah, some people come out here as a Deagle Demon. I'm more of a memeing demon.
Memeing demon.
Say that 10 times fast.
Honestly, I've never heard that before, so I praise your originality.
Thank you. That's why they brought me here. They're like, wow, Carlos, you say funny, original, dumb things. Come on down to Philly.
Banana going to be held by Gang, and it's Khaki who is releasing that utility as much as they can. And Chippy sees a bunch of action coming their way, finds Coco. Coco wishes they could have that one back. Ken's now sitting down in pit. The fire is raging, but they're holding strong and keeping their positions held. And now it is a 4-on-5 situation as things have slowed down at the minute mark. You can see all the way back. Gertz is looking for a potential flank through Banana. It doesn't come through, but there's the molly. It's going to get extinguished. L1's going to back off, has the utility out, gets timinged, and Getter loves that. Will take it every single day.
It went from a bad to a okay to a worse situation there for L1. Caught in the molly, the patience there to not run out, to know that your teammate's going to be able to send out that smoke. Very solid until they decided to peek out with the flashbang. Unfortunate,
Oh, no.
but it is what it is now. Gang running for their lives, and they pulled out the knife for the worst time! No! Kaki picks up that kill, and they've earned sight for free.
Chippy, though, does have this angle that does cut off the sight, but, oh, Getiter actually turned. The timing on that, Getiter checked the angle as Chippy walked away at literally the exact same moment. And now you can see Brashy going on the hunt here to try and get a pinch, potentially as Chippy moves through library.
This is just a round of poor timing here, Dak.
That's definitely an understatement. Oh, and Chippy goes for the jump look.
There it is again, jumping onto the barrel. It's another poor timing. Wow.
Yeah.
Unlucky. Unlucky is what the experts would call this one.
That was a cursed timing round for
I know,
sure.
yeah.
All right, here we go. YeniCherry, 5-4 advantage. Drypeek has had the lead. YeniCherry has turned things around. And it looks like we're not going to get a full buy here, actually, out of Drypeek. They are going to put things down and try to spend what they can to hold on to this and not let the lead get away from them.
The heat is on, but can't gonna get out of that one without any burns. L1 sending out the smoke into apartments, but it already has been infested with T's. We have Coco hanging out on Boiler, looking to clear out any exterminators, but at this point, all is quiet here in the neighborhood. L1 chilling on the balcony and expecting. I'm gonna expend a little 3 damage there. That's gonna bite you later, Dak. You know how much a difference that makes.
Still, no one's gone down yet, which is pretty surprising, I would think. No picks whatsoever, and the T side has completely taken over mid. They're gonna use that to push in towards Arches out on A. But look again. Ken's right on top of the site here. Kaki trying to push back out. It's a 3-person push, and they're hesitating here, too. They refuse to go even remotely close to Arches. Looks like they might actually be swinging back over towards apartments, but again, that's going to be Chippy hanging in this position and L1 in the pit.
And this isn't a long-range weapon, but we've seen the MP9 do damage at a distance here. Here comes the flash. They're waiting for the flood of enemies. It's going to be Coco, the first one to go down. Chippy from the pit, and L1 for the support. And Drypeek cuts down YeniCherry.
That was such a huge round for Drypeek. All the money they spent, and they didn't lose a single player. They just had to rebuy a little bit of Kevlar. That's it. That is such a huge play. And Ken's getting one. Chippy getting on the board. L1, that's a clutch play. That's what we come to expect from L1 in those situations.
Yeah, L1 is the pit master. It's well known.
Pit master, yeah.
And but Chippy is the apprentice. And here's a play we've seen before that hasn't worked out too well in the past, with one player running through the smoke in an aggression. Well, it does give Gank the information to shoot in that direction. At least it does cost a player. Trash is being the guinea pig here for this set.
And I think Chippy and L1 have an idea that someone might push through apartments because a smoke landed in mid, which would allow someone to cross over from Banana to apartments. So I think they might be anticipating that. Meanwhile, on the other side, Ken finds our friend Getiter. And then L1 going to start to push out here, putting some pressure on, throws the utility out, runs out with their knife! Even though they're pretty sure they knew that there was someone there, they were right into the scope of Kaki, who puts them down with no issue whatsoever. Even Brashy running away, tries to get out, gets tagged, puts some shots down, is able to get out of dodge.
Oh, if that nade actually hit its mark, that could have been a huge win there for Drypeek, getting some damage in. Brashy, though, swinging out onto sight to clear it out, and it's all up to Chippy to, well, hold on to that rifle.
That's a yes sir right there, and here we go. Apartments being vacated now by the remaining player of Drypeek, Chippy, who's out on their own. You can see Brashy here looking for a potential push over towards construction. Helped out a little bit here by Coco, but nothing's going to come their way because you can see Chippy is refusing to move, refusing to give up this rifle, and the remaining HP to their name as that bomb is going to tick down. I'm going to go the way of YeniCherry.
Yeah, and a great response after they were completely decimated from the earlier round where not a single casualty was felt by the side of Drypeek. So good time to turn it around from YeniCherry. Enjoying the fruits of their labor and a lot of cash, especially with Khaki holding on to that op. But, you know, based on what we've seen, toss that thing over to Coco. What are you doing?
Slang that thing over here.
That's the professional terms for it.
That's a professional version of yeet.
Yeah?
Yes. That's the formal version of yeet, actually. Nope, T's moving out. Gonna leave the bomb behind as they get mollied out through mid, so that's actually gonna separate Getiter from the rest of their squad until Coco's gonna make their way back in from the right side of mid. You can see mollied out is apartments just as Brashy is gonna push up there a little bit and look for a shot down staircase. Mid push, not gonna find pay dirt. 3 members of the CTs on B site in case Gertz wants to get a little frisky. But it looks like the push might be coming after a pick at A, right? Like the T's just want to get a pick and then figure out from there, but instead it's L1 who gets that first blood.
A good bounce from the flash. It does cut off the sight line here for L1 and the AWP, but they're going to have to back off. They still exist. They still have that weapon in hand and are all the while a threat within this, I guess, round, you know. Even though they have slowed down the push, there's just a bit of an air of danger coming out from the apartments, you know. They are just looking to slow it all down and keep them sweating.
Mid control maintained here by YeniCherry. They're still trying to gather some information. They really have no idea where the CTs are positioned. I would assume they have to know at least one person's in pit. That's probably the only info they can assume at this point. And then of course you have I'm Useless Trash still on B side. You can see Brashy now going to be pushing back through to Banana as it looks like there's going to be a push to A. They're baiting it with the molly. They throw the molly down on B, and then the CTs are starting to rotate. The bait comes through, and now A site's going to get hit by the T's.
Oh, well, that one player, Chippy, realized it was a feint. Now they are on their way back. The rotation, the re-rotation is in effect. We have I'm Useless Trash pushing up through mid from Banana. This is going to be a crucial time. If they could find a position here, well, actually, they're going to find a position in a safer location to save.
It is save time, and considering that L1 has an op, I think they want to maintain that as well. Also, look at the money for Drypeek. It is not fantastic, so they want to hold on to whatever hardware they can. Only 1 player dropped for YeniCherry, and overall, a really well-executed bait right there. CTs took the bait perfectly. They only had to expend a little bit of utility to do so. You can see Drypeek is, in that way, very reactive, right? Like they're not playing the game that we kind of expected, where they're not going to like be thrown off. They had players in a position on the previous series. They wouldn't really move them a lot of the time. Now we're seeing baits like that. You know, not a crazy amount of investment to get that bait done, and yet it was very, very successful.
Yeah, you know, we had spoke before how Drypeek was able to read through those baits, but
yeah,
not this time.
Not this time.
Not this time.
That's the thing, as this tournament goes on, you start to maybe second guess things. You maybe start to think about them differently, and that changes your behavior, changes how you're thinking about these pushes. And I'm certain that they're thinking about how they can change things up here, as now YeniCherry's up by 2 rounds, smoke cutting off mid. You can see them just rotating and continually moving around. But now they're going back to that usual 2-3 split we've seen from them on CT in the previous series, from a lot of these teams as well. Of course, Ken's hanging out right on the balcony for a push that might come their way thanks to Coco.
Made just to clear anybody holding that corner, but we find nothing. I'm Trash. Figures it out. Gets a nice kill on together, and now they're allowing a teammate to get into a boost. It will be Gank having that upper hand in terms of elevation. Chippy and Kent, they're holding a crossfire at this point. One looking down toward Boiler, but there isn't the push just yet. Khaki looking in the wrong angle. You gotta check into a different spot because Ken's worked it out perfectly. Ken's back in the pit where you first expected, and the crossfire with Chippy is coming through, but Ken's finds one with the up. Ken's finds a second, and now there's 2 more players, or 3, on the run and inspecting his gun, as you normally should in a clutch situation. Ended up costing their lives, and YeniCherry finally stopped, at least for the moment.
Yeah, Kaki popping off a little bit there, but like you said, that cross angle coming out from balcony and then on the site itself, they got caught in a crossfire, Stevie Ray Vaughn in it, and at that point, there's really not much you can do. You should be able to see that crossfire here, Ken's, with 1 and 2, and then while they're dealing with Ken's, it's Chippy who puts fire down. Kaki got 2 after that, but the damage had already been done.
Speaking of damage, a little bit of flame damage onto I'm Useless Trash there, but they're going to run away, reposition themselves back onto site for potentially a full-on B push. We haven't seen this for quite a few rounds. It's normally just bait out some utility and play off a pick toward A is what YeniCherry's been doing for a little while, or recent memory. Flash going out over the wall, but Trash picks up their first, sending out utility of their own to deny any space onto the site. Multiple players hiding in the dark, and they are waiting for the long rotation of their teammates. Gank stuck in the smoke. Gank might see one on the right, finds one, but will be traded out by Kaki. More help has arrived through construction in a longer rotation. It's gonna be Chippy on a longer angle, but if they can win this fight, which they can't, it would have been good, but Useless Trash finds another off kill. They will be pushed though. They can't hold on to their lives for too long. It's L1. Knows there's one player over there, spends the shot. That player realizes, well, there's an up, I'm not gonna look, get it, or holding that angle, but now we have to force it from a different position. It's Ken's going from the side. Ken's gets one LI, finishes it up. L1 finishes it up.
And boom, should be able to get the defuse. Takes a little time without that defuse pack, but hey, makes it happen. That was, honestly, I wasn't sure how that was going to go too, because that end flank there took a long time from Ken's, right? Really, really biding their time before entering, and then rejoin this fight. I love this, because Ken's using kind of L1 as a little bit of a bait, and then L1 playing their role there. That last final shot, I mean, that was very close and easily could have whipped it.
Yeah, it was a such a small difference made there. Kaki missed the first shot. Now L1 re-aggressive. Looks back in there, sends the blind shot, but it doesn't make a connection. However, Chippy on the other side is there to provide support and takes down Kaki as they look to make their way up through mid. They won't gain much ground. They have a player in Boiler ready to execute onto this site. They've made their commitment, or they're looking to do so. As we see the bomb creeping up through mid, and it's going to be a split. 2 in apartments, 2 flanking around from arches, but now number 6, that bomb carrier, Gertz, may be the one to swing out here through Boiler. And they're expecting rotation, but the timing is off. It's not going to work. Coco does find one. Chippy, however, on the site, on the boxes, gets one of their own. Brashy create a little bit of a flank here. It's Getiter now. Getiter and Coco in 2v1. It's all up to Gank to swing around with the M4. They've got the tools. The talent is there as well. They just need to find a good angle. And on this hay bale, they might indeed have it. They just have to figure out where are these players hiding. There's a bit of a peek. It's going to reveal the position. It's not going to be able to wallbang them, or at least he does. He gets the first one. It's a headshot. And now one more player is on this site. You had to have heard him. He must have. Or maybe no, the information isn't there. If you swing the corner and look up, that's all it's going to take. They might be able to find the crosshairs there, and the shot is good!
Whew. Just in time, too. That's a clencher right there. And it was so hard for the T side to really force that into a 2v1. You can't really just swing out and trade because you end up lining up with your teammate right there. And not only that, YeniCherry almost winning that final round of the half at not a full buy. So the fact that he didn't have a full buy going into that last round of the half and still almost won, it's actually not at all bad by YeniCherry. Fortunately for them, things are going to reset here, but they really did try their darndest. And you can see what I'm talking about here. Oh, this is from earlier, this cross angle. Really awesome stuff. Got to be looking for this. And this is from another highlight in that first half. Saw some great plays in the first half, and that's why this is so close here, Los.
Yeah, and it's a great way to end off that first half here for Drypeek, so they have that energy to bring them here into this pistol round and potentially continue some success. But of course, look at the scoreline. These are 2 well evenly matched squads, and that's why we're having such a back and forth game, but it's going to be Ken's to open this one up against Gertz. Now, they're descent onto either site. Actually, they're going to use arches as a way of rotating and flanking out the players on B. But if they can actually kill Kaki and Library, this could be done. Giving up on that move, they're going to just decide to move and get Getiter out of that position. Clear out B. There's only one person hiding in dark. They have to flush him out. It's going to be done here by the jumping USP from L1, but the flank is here. It's time for revenge in a bit of a role reversal. The CTs are making their way up through Banana, and one more player. It's going to be Kaki, the last one who can save this round for YeniCherry. The bomb is yet planted, and as soon as I say that, it goes down. Now it's a 1v3. There is still time on your side, but you have to be quick regardless, and this is going to be Drypeek's round instead.
Drypeek, masters of this pistol round, and that push through arches to get the back push from CT side onto B site, so well done, because they could have absolutely thought of the short term, be like, oh, we're at arches, let's just push A. Let's put pressure on Library. They go in and go back through arches all the way to the back side of B site, force a 4v1 that's unexpected by the remaining CT, and then they hold up against the retake, which still could have gone either way. So Drypeek now establishing a 2-round lead coming into this next, or as we go further into the second half.
Yeah, such a wacky play to get into B via CT.
Yeah, don't see that very often.
And, well, you don't see any defenders, any CT players on B side. All of them are stacked here in mid and arches, and Boiler just waiting for that push. I don't think it's going to come, though, Dak.
I don't think so either. Neither team wants to give up an inch. They're looking essentially just for that first pick, and that should be the cue to hit either site. And you can see Drypeek does not have the information that there's no one on B site because we have a full A site stacked on these pistols for the CTs. Shots come in. No one's crossing over just yet, but you can already see that Gank is completely working through the site. They molly the back left right behind the containers while Kenz is holding this angle, and Gank goes for the off angle. There's another player joining here. And they might be, the CTs might be looking out for Chippy at apartments, but now they've got the idea to push in mid. And look at this cross angle. Through mid, gets one, gets two, gets three. It's devastating here for the CTs. And YeniCherry wishes they could have that one back. They're going to fall in. They do get that final kill onto Chippy, but at this point the damage has been done. And the T side, Drypeek, are now looking for a few more kills, but it is a 4-on-2. They've lost one member, otherwise they have full map control.
It must have been a great feeling to realize that your gamble paid off. Nobody is even on the B site. The information you gathered was good with all that utility spent, and it's even better with Chippy able to pick up 3.
This next round is going to be crucial, Los, right? Like, YeniCherry, I think, has to win this next round. They don't want to be set back economically. That's what we were talking about, where you might be able to, deal with being down a few rounds early in the game, but now we're getting towards the end. We're in the second half here, and that means you do not have a lot of time to be giving up rounds. And this is Chippy holding outside apartments right at the front door as the push mid comes through. Gets 3 in a row before getting clapped by Brashy. They did their job.
Yeah, caught completely off guard during that rotation. They assumed, well, nobody's here, nobody's attacking.
Yep.
Everybody has to be on the other side. Well, keeping a lurker on an off angle is exactly what you need to do just to get some more information, if not provide extra frags.
No, that's the information game right there, because the CTs, YeniCherry, they give up B. They're like, okay, they must be assuming that we're stacked on A, and then you have that one player holding that off angle, and that completely turns the table. That's how you use information given to you by the other team to turn it around against them.
That's that game of information, information. It's 50% of what we have going on here, but running out trying to get that off through Banana. It doesn't make any connection, but they will have to relocate back up. Coco over here by Boiler regressing to site proper. It's going to be Ken's going in for the chase. Brashy over there in pit. They might not realize he's there, but the Molly says otherwise. They're going to be sending 2 of them. Ken's going to fall or no. Brashy still putting in the work. Ken's dropping into the pit. Now they have site control, but there are 3 players coming from Library. You got to get ready because this is going to be a real difficult one to pull this out. And, well, it's not going to be any victory here for Drypeek as it's a nice clap back here in YeniCherry.
That was a critical round for YeniCherry to win, as I was saying, and they do get that round win, so they should be able to stay alive a little while longer, not let Drypeek extend this lead, but also not be in a situation where they likely have to eco anytime soon. If they can get another win here, they should be good economically. They're able to full buy here if they so choose. Actually, no. Getiter does not have enough. Even after that, they still don't have enough money to full buy. Getiter instead going to be stocking up on utility, which I think is a good move. But even look at this. Drypeek can't full buy either.
Yeah, tough economic standing on both sides. No snipe out here from Khaki. Smokes are going to be good gank. Pushing up, you know, just maintaining control here. Ensuring that nobody will be able to flank or get an aggressive push. But once you have that op noticed, most likely won't be a follow-up with SMG or a close rifle.
Absolutely not. Gank refuses to move, waiting for someone to walk into the trap. L1 going to be a bit more mobile and starting to take ground for themselves. And Brashy almost instinctively going to back up here towards pit. Can kind of hear the rumblings outside the site and then given a little bit of notice ahead of time. As this push slowly but surely seems to be making its way in. I think that molly was meant to be going towards arches, unless that was an intentional. I think that might have actually been an intent. I don't know. It's cutting off L1, so I don't think it was intentional. If there was a CT there, that'd been a really nice molly.
Yeah, it would have been what we would even call Giga Brain if that were the case. However, more smooth at this point. We do have one player down in pit. It's going to be Coco. Hasn't really shown or no, it's going to be Brashy, who's been there before. They've had a lot of damage, a lot of impact in that position. But Chippy, if you could get that deagle out, if you could remove that source of trouble for you, this take might be a little more fruitful. Flashbang not going to be sent out. Brashy going to reposition, and now this is a crossfire we've seen that's worked so well for Drypeek. Is it going to work out here for YeniCherry? It doesn't seem to be so. Some loss of life will occur, but jumping through the arches, it's going to be Gertz, and that leaves Getiter all alone in a 1v3 with an MP9.
This is where legends are made right here. Will Getiter decide to play? Nope. Looks like they're gonna maybe it looks like they're gonna do a little reading first and actually try to take this from another way. No, they're actually gonna go and pick up the op. That's smart. Yeah.
Read from the past and realize maybe saving's good.
Well, that's what defines legends right there. Nice, smart, simple move there. Not gonna run away immediately. Not gonna go in and try and force it. Instead, they're gonna pick up this nice op and hold on to it for dear life. They're all the way back in construction, but this will be another Drypeek win here. They'll be up 11-3. YeniCherry. This is what we're talking about. Where now Drypeek can win this war of attrition. They can trade rounds here. If they keep doing that, they're going to win the series. So YeniCherry has to change something up here, and they have not a lot of money to do so. And even still, Khaki wants to buy that op, wants to have it in their hands as often as they can. Honestly, at this point, I don't blame them. Yeah,
this tit for tat isn't going to work anymore. You know, YeniCherry needs to pick up a lot more rounds, close the gap. Else, Drypeek will walk away with this one. A MAC-10, a few of them even pushing up into apartments. That's what you want. You want your close-range fighters to have those rapid-fire weapons. And another stack that we've seen in the past, and this time it might actually work out. One player decides to peek in through apartments. It is Coco, but I don't know if they're going to find anything. Chippy and L1 rushing through the apartments, and Gank pushing out on mid. Finds a kill in around Arch Cubby, but Coco, the trigger discipline has been recommended and received before very well, but this time it isn't going to provide dividends like it did earlier. L1 dropping Getiter, and this is another round here for Drypeek, only 4 rounds away from winning the set.
A little bit of loss bonus to play with here, so it's probably worth it that Khaki did have that op ready to go. Here's Coco from the balcony, and a few of those shots did whiff. They finally find the back of the skull, and then they're put down for the count. It is a 4-round lead for Drypeek, and they're starting to smell blood in the water.
That is exactly right. This is going to be such a huge round. Yeni has to win this one. If they get thrown into that economic hole, the disparity there will essentially be a death sentence, or at least lead us over to series points.
really making some noise in apartments. I'm sure the downstairs neighbors love hearing that. Gert's going to throw out some utility. Oh, it gets caught on the ledge. So that smoke is wasted. That sucks. Have to throw out another one. Kaki's going to fall back here. A lot of pressure going in towards A site as 2 members of CT are still over at B. They're smoked out. So they don't know. There's no one really pushing them. But you can still see Gank is now going back over to Banana to see if anyone's face checking that smoke, and nobody is. So now things have slowed down yet again. I'm Useless Trash looking to see if anyone's going to face check that smoke. You see Ken's as well on the rooftop here. We're on top of Shed. Be hanging out a little bit here. And the Molly just out of range of Brashy. Coco on the site as well. They're looking for this crossfire again. But will Kens get the better of them?
Oh, information gathered. Kens knows someone's playing behind that box, but I don't know if they've seen Brashy in pit just yet, but that's going to be a good shot out from Brashy. Removes Kens out from the roof on the other side by Arches. We do have an alt player. It is Kaki waiting for someone to take that angle. Moving into Library, they are adjusting their position. A lot of flashes going down onto Brashy. They have to make a move and remove this player from that struggle position. And now the site has been cleared and looking like YeniCherry going for another save.
Yeah, the CTs on B side are so far removed from the action. At this point, it would be walking into a car crash at this point to even attempt to push in on A. You can see Library getting mollied out just in case. It's really the only place left that the CTs would be if they would be close at all. Otherwise, the other angles are being held harshly here by L1 and Chippy. They're going to flash it nonetheless just to make sure as they make their way out looking for some exit frags. But they're not going to find it because Gertz is staring at a wall. Maybe a little more entertaining than watching paint dry, but it's certainly better than dying.
Yeah, you know, sometimes it can be better, but death is exciting.
Hey, man, it's the one guarantee in life, right? And right here, Drypeek, they are feeling it. They are 2 rounds away. YeniCherry starting to let it slip through their fingers. The potential for a third map is becoming lower, lower, and lower. Drypeek knows they have a chance to move into the next round. Now, will they keep their mental set, or will they get greedy?
At this point, you have no reason to get greedy. I mean, victory is almost in your grasp, but I know, serious aggression coming out from CTs at this point. YeniCherry has gotten 1 kill, but at the cost of one of their own and health of 2, they're in a bad position if they want to take any more head-on fights, as a lot of aggression makes its way over toward B. Molly's stopped the push, though. Once that runs out, it's time to move. One player hanging out on the boost. They're going to be found quite easily as Gang and Trash clear them out. Geditor coming through from CT. The bomb will go down. Both Geditor and Brashy at death's door. Just a glance from one of their rifles will be all it takes to bring us to 14.
YeniCherry deciding they're going to dance with the devil here, and they're going to push through, potentially through construction, maybe deciding not to, and I think that might be the best choice. Looks like indeed Geditor is going to fall back, but to see if there are any exit frags potentially, we're going to have Brashy still hanging out at Sunday Mass here. Looks like they're going to say their Hail Marys and then back off, but are they going to run into Gang? They will. So I'm Useless Trasher goes down, but then Gank, who gets the revenge, trades off. It's a 2-on-1 remaining, and Drypeek are now 1 round away from advancing here in lower bracket and taking this series 2-0.
Yeah, it is very close. 1 more, and we're at series point, and the money is tight over there for YeniCherry. The money is not looking good. They aren't going to be able to bring any more rifles. Just the single one saved from the last round, unless Geditor is feeling a little bit generous here. We'll pass it on over to Kaki. Actually, a little FAMAS action. So they have some more firepower, but if they don't come through, if they don't find success in this round, it may be all but over.
I think so, and you can see YeniCherry wants to make sure they have some money to work with in the next round, but otherwise, they're going to try to have a little bit of firepower, not full rifle buys. They have utility, though. That could be the deciding factor. They're not full 4 stocked out per player, but they have enough smokes and flash and some mollies, even a frag grenade there for Kaki to maybe try to flush out a few of these corners as the T start to push up. Here's the boost. Kaki's gonna get up there, but it's Kenz who gets on the board first, and then another. That's a double. A nice 2K there. They're gonna push up for more. Kenz gets another one. No, it's stolen away from them. And then Chippy gets on the board. This is starting to fall apart here. 3-on-2 as YeniCherry have lost B site, and this retake is not looking good potentially.
There's no way you could save at this point. You can't save for match point. Not here, but I think it actually will be. They're going to opt for it because Kaki is just so far away from the action. The rotation can't come through. The distance is too great, and by the time they even make it over to B site, the bomb will be basically brought to explode.
That's how it is. And we might get a little bit of a hunt going here. Chippy's walking by. Oh, wow. That was, I did not think that they'd be able to get the better of Brashy there. Nonetheless, the bomb will take down Drypeek. 1 round away. That's all it takes. That's all they need. They've done the work. They've put in the work. They've got it on their resumes. They've got the experience. They've got the time put in. And now they just need 1 more round to move on.
That's all it's going to take, and it should be, shouldn't be easy, though. Rifles back in the hands of YeniCherry and Op in the hands of Coco, who has proven to use that weapon with great efficiency, walking up toward that molly, taking a bit of damage just to risk the smoke kill. Getiter, though, will find that aggression out from Trash and puts it to rest. A molly over onto Getiter, but will be saved with the smoke. These players are in tough positions, but the aggression here is not being rewarded for Drypeek. At this point, they're opting to move on over to A.
Not the best start here for Drypeek, and it continues as Coco finds another one, makes it 5-on-2. They might try to take some more bodies down the T side over at A, but they're going to instead go to Arches. This might actually force a 2-on-2 here, and they can get the better of Getiter and Gertz. This actually might be doable, but instead they're going to split up. They can't trade off each other, and that's another player going down. It's Gank. It's just Chippy remaining.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate move. I guess if they both committed to move on over to B with that flank, it would have been a little more well received. But if you're losing that bomb down mid, well, you're just going to lose the round in general. YeniCherry stays alive with another round.
Yeah, there's no information there really for Drypeek. It was kind of just an assumption and a guess you could make. And it's understandable too, because if you're clumped up, there's a good chance you might get mowed down by one player. If you spread out, opportunity maybe gather some more information, or at least get some individual picks there and play the 1v1s. Unfortunately, that's not the way it goes for Drypeek. And here we go. Last round again, potentially, still on map and match point. And Drypeek can start pushing out already, putting some pressure on with utility. They're starting to get cut off, though, on B, just like we've seen before.
Yeah, so much utility, so many grenades, breaking down the health of Drypeek here. I mean, the first one to fall is going to be Gank, often seen running ahead, especially through Banana. It's not going to pay dividends this time. We do have L1 creeping and crawling through the apartments, just causing a little bit of mayhem, but it won't matter as they have their first ascent over onto the site. Simply Getiter taking down Kent, but L1 is finding some profit here on the other side. He turns around just in time to figure out there's another player, but there it is. L1 loses the duel on Coco, and now it's all up to I'm Useless Trash. A 1v4, and up is all they have in hands. Not to say that's a little bit, but it is to say it's going to be very difficult to take out players who are looking to trade.
And once Gertz sets up this cross angle, it's going to be almost impossible for this op to really get the full set clear. There's the kill. Now they're going to face check, and Gertz smartly falling back. No point to force this. The bomb's going to get planted. A little bit extra cash here. But Drypeek.
Nope.
Gonna Drypeek.
It is, it's tough, you know?
Yeah.
They're put into a 1v3 in such a difficult scenario.
Yeah, and now if you're Drypeek, you're wondering, wow, we really needed to take round 24. Now we're moving on to round 26, and YeniCherry has now gotten themselves back into the game.
It certainly isn't over for them yet, but I believe this would be a critical round to win here. I mean, it's almost at the point of breaking the economy of Drypeek here, but they still have enough money to grab that op for I'm useless trash. If they could find something to open up this round, find any sort of advantage here, and they could run with it, and they could end up closing this round. But no, it's gonna be Khaki who has that first strike against that Drypeek offer.
Firing through, and Ken somehow survives, but by the skin of their teeth at 20 HP, evens things up 4-4 apiece. And they're not going to push this. Drypeek still looking for another peek here, but they have to be careful because on the other side is Gertz and Khaki with this cross angle potentially. Oh, Chippy gets it, and now they're trading off 2-1, and now it's a one-on-one situation here. The Titanic is fallen, the ship is sinking, and now Drypeek has the advantage to possibility to take this. Just the one-on-one. L1 versus Getiter.
But he's rotating, he's got the wrong weapon out! And Getiter walks right into the shot. Or Getiter gets that shot onto L1.
Walks the shot into them.
Yeah, that's right. With a leash.
Yes, absolutely. There's no advantage, just straight up neutral right there. You play the neutral, you play the one-on-one, and YeniCherry staying alive yet again.
Such a lost opportunity for Drypeek again for them to close out this match, and now they're at death's door for their own economy. No real money to work with after this round if they end up losing it, but to be honest, YeniCherry in a similar position. Their money's kind of tight. However, they just need to consistently win rounds. It doesn't matter what their money's going to be next round if they end up losing.
Look how hesitant everyone is. And you really have to be here. Drypeek now very low on cash, so likely have to save if they lose this round, and that'll definitely afford even more of an opportunity here for YeniCherry. We have 3 members on A, they still have 2 at B, but they're not even sitting on B because you know they want to have that transition if need be. Chippy holding down mid a little bit, you can see Ken's with them as well, and all the way up Banana, it's Gank. Let's see if anyone's going to push out aggressively.
Chippy first one to peek. No real threats coming out from Boiler. Gank now does face off with a molly to block off this path. Both players looking down, expecting something from Banana, but not really committing. Gank tossing out a smoke, maybe, or receives it just to give some information. Let them know, hey, I might be here. The team might be here, and now the team will be here as the rest of this squad rotates on over to Banana.
This could be it. This could be the final stack here for Drypeek. This could be it. What they need to move on forward. It's a 5-on-3 potentially. Here comes the rotation for the CT. The cross angles from above. SB1. Another goes down. Gank is going to be found. And it's going to be Gertz that goes down. Now is a 4-on-3 situation.
Getting back to the boost. Getiter gets one, but Ken's is going to trade him out. And now useless trash. Run down the clock, actually. They waited too long.
Wow. I did not even, that actually was a shocker right there. I didn't even know that was going to possibly happen. Wow.
Oh.
That was I have to imagine that was a shock to Drypeek as well.
Yeah.
Because that was a shock to us.
A bit of time mismanagement there. That is not a round you want to lose. And that's not how you want to lose the round.
Wow. Unexpected. Gotta keep our eyes on the clock now. It's going to be coming down to that. I mean, you might get timed out. I didn't realize they were playing Sonic on Final Destination right here. We got timed out, literally.
Some big Smash references out here today, but hopefully, for at least Drypeek, they can smash this curse of them not being able to win a single round for the past, I want to say, maybe even 4.
Yeah, it all comes down to round 24, right? Drypeek letting YeniCherry stay in this game, and YeniCherry have not dropped a round since. Molotov's going to come out. That's going to force Gank back a little bit here, while the remaining side of Drypeek are hanging out in apartments down the hallway, overlooking the plane there. And now here comes the push outside of balcony.
Oh, it's going to be Bashi and Khaki. Both of them finding their respective shots, being able to survive. Coco as well. Throw him into the mix because all of these players are finding great angles and positions. There's no chance for Drypeek to take this side.
And look at how the morale has come down here for Drypeek. I mean, they're really not reacting much at all, while YeniCherry have clawed their way back here. They've been on the brink for several rounds, and now all of a sudden, it's 15-13. A chance for OT, but we've been here before where a team has been on the crux of getting the final map round. They've been sitting at 15, it's still doable.
It's going to be a Tech 9 play here for Drypeek. See if these pistols are going to be what they need to actually find success. A little bit of fire, a little bit of smoke over onto Banana. Now they have to make their push or just decide to let them sweat a little bit. Sandbags being cleared along with Carr. They have to commit here. They put all of their players up. And it's going to be a missed up shot. Uh-oh, Khaki loses it. L1 coming in with the first shot, but now Gertz over on the side will find another kill, but the rush is too much. They're unable to follow through. And now 3 players have fallen to these Tech 9s. Only 2 more players. Brashy and Coco are here to try and get the retake. The bomb has been planted. The Tech 9s are too deadly. Brashy and Coco, do they have what it takes to actually earn this retake? The M4 is in the hands of Chippy. They even manage to find it, but one goes down. Brashy turns this into a 1v1 with Kenz. Kenz doesn't have a rifle, but Kenz doesn't need it because Kenz gets the swing on the perfect time. The utility was out, and Drypeek saves themselves and ends this.